In a world crying out for a top 10 show, John Roca and Matt Nost are here. So grab your assigned seat, sit back, and enjoy this week's Top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know Network. Take it away, boys.
Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of Thunderdome.
Thunderdome.
The Top 10 Show's latest installment. What would you call it? Our newest show, right? New content?
It's the newest content of the week.
Yeah.
Sure. It comes out on Wednesdays, and then the regular show comes on Thursday, and then
Right.
if we happen to see a movie between the two of us over the weekend, then we do a recap on Friday.
So this is our second launched show.
Sure. Yes, it is. Well, no, I mean, I guess
Well, third. Well,
because
I guess
of the
top
recap
10.
and review.
Right, recap and review, top 10. And then
But I think this is technically a show,
Yes.
even though I'm already harping on myself internally that I've used technically twice.
Oh,
Just
you're very hard on yourself.
well, just because
Like, our fans go, I don't give a fuck. But
No,
you're very
they
hard on
don't. But at the same time, I just think of it as a listener in the audience. You watch people sometimes, and you're like, they just repeat. They've got a few different mannerisms, and it
Sure.
gets annoying after a while. So I internally just kind of cut down on it. I got a couple buddies. I got one in particular that he is one of the best joke writers, if not the best joke writer I've ever seen, and he delivers it really well. He's a good performer, but he has two physical tics on stage that drive me absolutely up the goddamn wall.
Wow.
And one is he grabs the bottom of the mic cord and then he strings it out amongst his fingers and then drops it. Almost like when a girl pulls her hair out, you know what I mean? And then drops it and it flops back down and hits her on the shoulder or something.
Okay.
So he'll do that every once and again. Or he tips his punchlines sometimes by pressing his palm against the top of his forehead.
Oh,
So it's just like every time you do that, man, I know a punchline is coming or you're changing between jokes.
wow. You're like Matthew Damon in Rounders. You're like, you can tell his tell. You can like pick out his tell.
Dude, I've seen him perform 500 times or something. So
you found his tell.
not really.
He giving away his punchlines. That's his tell.
If you're that obvious in poker, where you're doing that every time you go to do some
That's what
specific
a tell
action,
is.
it is. But at the same time, when you see it in Rounders, it's like
Yeah.
the fucking Oreos.
That's so obvious.
It is so
how,
obvious.
How could they not have figured that out before?
Exactly. How has this guy gotten to the top of the underground poker world and nobody's figured out the Oreo,
Oreo
fucking thing? Because he more than likely just plays at his shop now.
Yeah.
He's big enough to where guys come to him.
Yeah.
So
Everyone's like, he just loves his Oreos.
yeah,
I can't
apparently
figure it out.
nobody noticed it.
Nobody noticed it but Matt Damon. Anyway, before we get too far off topic, thanks to everybody for voting for Thunderdome this week. We
Yep.
really appreciated the comments.
By the way, you are,
Oh, hi, yes, I am John Roca.
and I'm Matt Nost.
Yes, this is the top 10 show,
Yeah.
Thunderdome.
A ton of votes. It was a close
Yeah.
one. It was a close one.
Right.
Although we still, I think, got like 5-6 votes after the deadline.
I love it. Every time they come
Every
in now,
time.
I see Matt's anger at the vote.
Oh, it's not anger. It's just like I appreciate the fact that you still
Yeah.
want to get your vote in, but that 12 p.m. cutoff line is a 12 p.m. cutoff
is.
line.
There's
That's,
no joke.
Otherwise, it just goes until whenever it goes.
Right. But your vote has been registered posthumously in the ether. That this is what you've chosen.
Sure.
lobby.
Mail's here.
Hello. Yeah.
I mean,
there we go.
I did factor those not into the actual show, but in a tally in my head of like, oh, because Reservoir Dogs climbed back in a little
Right.
bit. We
It
got some
did.
late votes, and I'm like, all right, that makes it, but it was a close vote, but Pulp Fiction is our winner.
Yeah, it was a lot of votes, and a lot of people it kept swinging. Initially, it
Yeah.
was Pulp, and then Reservoir made a run. Then it was Pulp again, and then Reservoir made a nice quiet run. It was almost like a basketball game, like coming up to lead, and
It
then
is.
couldn't quite get there.
But every time Pulp would make that run,
Yeah.
when Reservoirs chip back in, it went from, they're up by 3 to the next time they're up by 5.
Yeah.
To the next time they're up by 9.
Yeah.
So they just kept building on their lead of like, Reservoir keeps, chipping away, but it's just not enough.
It's because they keep missing their free throws. They can't cut that lead.
Yeah.
They
Or
keep
whatever
missing
it
those
is.
shots. Yeah, it's
or you
good
turn the
defense.
ball over late and just a mental error.
Pulp just had some good defense.
Seen it a million times. That's the best when you see that happen. You're like, they just lost the game right there.
Yep.
I've watched enough games. I know you can tell by the attitude of the
Yep.
team or you just lost the crowd.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal to watch.
I was watching Maryland, Michigan State over the weekend, and I knew exactly when Maryland lost that game. You know exactly in the moment. You watch enough sports, you know.
Yeah.
That moment when they're trying so hard and they can't quite, like somebody makes a bonehead mistake, somebody takes a bad shot, somebody commits the wrong foul. That's the moment when you know they've lost a series or they've lost the game. You just know it.
See, my favorite is because I know the NBA infinitely better. I used to watch college basketball, and I watch games offhandedly now, but it's not appointment viewing as it once was. So in basketball, sometimes you can tell when it's just like, oh, it's that guy being that guy, and you can tell it drives the team nuts.
Yes.
That's my favorite, just like because you know the personalities, and you're like, fucking Lance did it again.
Yeah.
Look at it. You can see his teammates are pissed right now, but they can't be pissed because it's your teammate.
Fuck you, Born Ready.
Yeah.
It's like what's his face? Westbrook back in the early days. Westbrook would go insane in the early days. People go nuts about it.
Well, it's just he was this raw, athletic, anomaly. And you had to figure out what he was.
Yeah.
Goddamn, that dude is so good.
Dude,
I love watching him play.
Now you're making me think about my fantasy basketball team.
What are you checking on your phone right now?
I got to make sure I set my lineup.
Right in the middle of the show?
I'm sorry.
What time does the actual game start?
4 o'clock.
It starts at 4?
I took all my teams to first or second place. Yeah, so they're all in the playoffs. So I have buys. So I just need to adjust my lineup real quick. But anyway, let's keep going.
All right. Well, I will stall for time.
Yes, please do.
As you
it's literally one more update.
That's all you got to do. Well, hopefully, if they all have buys, you saying, well, it doesn't really matter at this point.
I took 4 out of 5 to first place, and my fifth team went in second place. That's my team that's playing today.
So you're in the playoffs already?
Yeah, I'm in the playoffs already. With this many weeks left. I know it's weird. It's this way Yahoo does it, so it's very strange.
I wonder why that is.
Anyway, we've lost probably half the audience now talking about this bullshit. Let's jump.
Not really. We danced around. We asked enough. It wasn't like it was dead air as you actually just updated your lineups.
That's true.
And it's a top 10 for first.
Yep.
Maybe
it's a top 10 first.
Maybe we launch another show. It's just one of us interrupting the other one. And it's a mini show within the show. I don't know what I can do because I only do fantasy football. I don't do basketball because the season's way too fucking long.
I keep telling you to do an NBA show. You don't fucking listen to me.
Listen, I can talk NBA all day, pretty much every day.
Let's do it.
It's all.
It could be fun if the fans fund it. We'll do the show.
Fans fund it.
If they pay for our bandwidth for an NBA show to be on another network, we'll do it. That's fair.
Sure.
You have to start asking the fans for stuff. I know you hesitate.
It's
let me do it, fans. Send in the money. We're going to start a P.O. box.
So what? Send it to the John Roca Charity Fund. P.O. Box 1127.
The top 10 NBA show.
West Hollywood, California.
Right into this account. Anyway, it was a great back and forth. A lot of you all voted, which we feel like we chose the right 2 movies because a lot of you all reacted. We had probably the most votes that we've had in a while, maybe.
Since I think the first one.
Since the first week.
Or maybe it had more, but it was close.
Gotcha. And as Matt stated, Pulp Fiction beat Reservoir Dogs.
Yep.
And so that's what we're going to talk about on the Thunderdome.
I asked you this last time. What would your vote be? I'm pretty sure it's Reservoir.
Yeah. That's my favorite. That's one of my, it's top 2 or 3 of Quentin.
Yeah.
So
look, Reservoir, Pulp. I'm a big fan of Django.
Yeah, Django's good.
There's a few that I just love.
I'm a Kill Bill guy, absolutely, which will come up in some other show. But it's my horrible love of that damn film. I love it to pieces. So, anyway, Pulp Fiction.
Pulp would be your choice.
Matt Nost.
No, I'm sorry, Reservoir.
Reservoir. What was your choice?
It's kind of a coin flip, but I would say Reservoir.
Okay,
I like them both a lot for very different reasons.
Yes, of course.
But of those two, I like Reservoir just a little bit better.
Right.
Just because it's such a small movie.
Mm-hmm.
But Pulp I love because you can feel Quentin's confidence.
Yes.
Coming across.
Yeah.
Like all the moves he saw, he made an amazing film in Reservoir and just come off and now he's got an even bigger cast.
Yeah.
And he has a story that interweaves but in separate worlds.
Yeah.
And he does it flawlessly over and over. And the jump cutting in between is fantastic because he still carries a thread throughout and carries your attention as you just meet all these new people, especially early on.
Yeah.
Just like, well, what does this have to do in context or relation to what I just fucking saw?
Well, I think that's what's amazing about this, about Pulp Fiction. This is a sophomore effort. Most of the times, filmmakers come out with a sophomore effort after a great debut and fall flat on their face.
Yeah.
And Quentin went to another level with this film, according to a lot of people, right? I personally like Reservoir a little bit better for the same reasons, Matt. It's a smaller, more independent film, and in the corner, I think it is the right film.
Yeah.
But Pulp Fiction has to be respected for the expansiveness of its storylines, the homage it has to so many different types of 70s things that it was basically laying the pattern of the groundwork of what Quentin Tarantino was going to keep coming back to.
Oh yeah, well, it's his
multiple
style.
films. Yeah, it's his style.
It's fully his style,
Yep.
where he's incorporating like the music helps fuel the feeling of the scene.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not saying he didn't do that in Reservoir, but Reservoir is more about the characters themselves,
Yeah.
as opposed to the overall like romanticism of film.
Well, and it's a great window into L.A. If you
Yeah.
don't live in L.A., Pulp Fiction is basically L.A. All the grit, the grime, the beauty, the weirdness, the fun, the scary shit, and the randomness of L.A. The whole film captures that, and I think that's what's so enjoyable about the film when I'm in the right mood to watch it. It's not a film I run to watch all the time, but when it's on, I enjoy it. Like the Bruce Willis storyline is my favorite storyline of the whole film. From beginning to end.
Yeah, that or the Sam Jackson, Vincent Vega.
Sure, the kung fu thing at the end with their kung fu and the whole shooting, all that jazz, you mean?
Yeah. And the dialogue leading up to going to get the briefcase.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's great because it's a discussion really about nothing. It's just two friends catching up after 3 years apart.
Yeah.
And it's a great, like, what have you been up to?
Right.
And, like, sometimes you haven't seen somebody in 3 years. You assume because of their rapport that they were good friends before. Right. And they've just been 3 years separated. So they're just picking up the conversation from where they left it off.
Yeah.
And just starting as like, yeah, you did all that stuff and welcome back. And, I'll reincorporate you into my life pretty quickly. But just to see that, just the stupid discussion, and this great little dialogue with the Royale with cheese, and then they show up, and the one guy, is it Brad or Brett? The guy that say what again?
Yeah.
It's
Brett.
one of the...
I think it's Brett.
Brett? Okay. But then when he asks him, and the Royale with
shit from the
cheese
fans again.
comes back up. Look, we can't know everything.
I know. They get so mad at us when we don't get the characters right.
That guy, I can't...
Frank Whaley.
Whaley. I was about to say it's like Whaley or something. But he's in I know him from Swimming with Sharks. Did you ever see that?
Great film.
Great fucking film.
Ooh,
I saw that on
such a good
HBO, like on a random, it was playing,
Brett, yes. He was
15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this thing is fantastic.
It's such a great truth window into fucking being an assistant in this town, dude.
I know. It really is. If people like want to see what LA is like, at least on the Hollywood side,
Yeah.
some of that is over the top, but some of that is very real.
Right.
Very real.
Yep.
People in power flipping out over stupid details.
Over Sweetener.
Yeah, over nothing.
Yes.
Just because they can.
Yep.
Just because they need to put a power trip over somebody.
Yep.
Because a lot of their world is utter and complete bullshit.
Right.
So they need some sort of something. They need control somewhere, and they're going to take it out on you. And you're like, oh, man, I have seen people get chewed out for nothing before. For absolutely nothing. Just like, I feel so bad for that person every time. Yeah. Glad I'm not him.
Yeah, no shit. Well, this film was really well known initially for the comeback of John Travolta. Right, Travolta had kind of been lost after Look Who's Talking films, and obviously after his heyday of the 70s. And this was kind of a comeback for him, and he did such a great job as Vincent Vega. And then you had Uma Thurman playing Mrs. Wallace. You had Ving Rhames playing Marcel. You had Bruce Willis. You had so many good actors.
Tim Roth,
right?
Was it Amanda Plummer?
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Walken.
You want to talk about one of the best monologues ever on film?
Yeah. And that's we just cut to that.
Yeah.
We just straight up cut out of nowhere to that, but you understand, like, oh, okay, I know what's going on, but it takes a little bit. Yeah. But it's so goddamn good.
It really is.
That you don't care as you're watching it. You're like, all right, you'll get me up to speed here in just a second.
Yep. Harvey Keitel.
Quentin himself, his best acting in any of his movies.
Probably.
Yeah.
And Steve Buscemi. He plays
the waiter.
Yeah, the Buddy Holly guy.
Just that's it.
So yeah,
that's all you got, Steve.
Right. But it's so fun to watch now in retrospect, having lived in LA for so long, because you kind of have a different affinity for the film. Whereas when I watched it first in the 90s, I was living in Tallahassee at the time doing Florida State. Oh no, not even Tallahassee. I was in Virginia. because this is like 95, 96. I was in Virginia before I even went back to school. And I went to see it. I was just like an addict to independent film. And I thought, Tarantino is, the
next,
the god of independent film right now. So I went to see it in this small theater by myself, and I enjoyed it. And I kept going back, because I didn't 1,000% love it. So I kept going back to kind of figure out, what is it about this film that everyone's going so crazy about? And to this day, I still don't have 1,000% love for the film, but I think it's a great film. I just don't feel that affinity to put it. I don't own it, and that to me is.
It's not in your Criterion collection.
Nope.
Son of a bitch! You got everything else.
I got Reservoir, I got Kill Bill, and I got Django. I fucking love Django.
I know.
So
Christoph Waltz, DiCaprio,
all of it.
So good.
But I'm sorry, man. I keep talking. You go ahead. What do you enjoy about the film? Like, what do you enjoy about the dialogue?
You're saying like the only thing that I've never been. I wouldn't say never been, but the only 100% I am is Bruce Willis's girlfriend in it.
Oh yeah,
that's
who was a darling of the independent cinema at the time.
Was she?
Yeah.
I don't know, the pairing of the two of them.
Yeah.
It always. It didn't feel like it was harmonious between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never sensed that there was an actual love or anything like that.
Yeah.
They tried to have some sort of connection, but it didn't feel real.
It didn't work for you.
Yeah.
You thought she was? Did you think she was shoehorned in, or did you think she was legitimately?
I think she was miscast.
Oh, okay.
Not to say that she was bad, but I just didn't buy the character that she created, that somehow that would jive with Bruce Willis.
The little baby voice, the whole thing about the blueberry pancakes.
Oh yeah, the whole time, like I don't know. I just from everything else that you've seen of that character, I can't imagine that he would enjoy that. That just seems like mindless, nonstop chatter, and nothing about Bruce Willis seemed like he would enjoy just mindless, nonstop chatter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was in Henry and June. She played Anais Nin in Henry and June. Her name's Maria de Medeiros or something like that. And so that's she was cast again. Like I said, she was cast because at the time she was an indie darling, like that. You just cast like Amanda Plummer was. She's in the film for that reason as well.
But she's playing what she plays best.
Yes,
the psychotic.
Yes, she does.
Psychotic. Like she could arguably be the best thing. Exactly. Yeah. I literally was getting to that. So I Married an Axe Murderer is her, like the whole time she's creepy. She's so excellent at that.
She really is.
I'm sure she's a sweetheart in real life.
Well, I don't know, probably, but still quirky as fuck. Like, there's like Crispin Glover. Seems like a decent fellow, but quirky as hell.
That's true. I was going to say, like a lot of times the heavies off screen are the over the top nice guys because everybody perceives them as the heavy. Yeah. Whereas, that's true. With her, she does seem like, maybe a card is missing from that deck.
I enjoyed her in Fisher King, though. I thought she was perfectly cast in Fisher King as Robin Williams' love interest. Such perfect quirkiness to her. So let's break it down. So this is if you've never seen Pulp Fiction, where the hell have you been? And B, if
you're not listening to us if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction.
I mean, I don't know why you're listening.
Yeah, I would be amazed if anybody hasn't seen this and is listening. Let us know.
Yeah.
Because it seems kind of weird that you would be following us guys to talk about movies nonstop, and it's not like this is show 2. You know what I mean?
No.
This is show somewhere in the ballpark of like 58 or 59.
Someone was tweeting the other day and told me, like, what are you guys going to do for your 1-year anniversary? I'm like, wait, are we close to the 1-year anniversary?
Yeah, we're coming up on it. It's like 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
What? For the 1-year anniversary?
Beginning of April. It was like April 3rd last year was the first release date.
We've been doing this for a year, bitch.
Yeah, and now we got
2-3
different shows.
We're gonna have to do something special for that one then. All right.
Technically, if we do the one thing we've been talking about, that might coincide. We could set it up to where that's the hundo.
No, I don't think that. No, our 100 is us, man. It's me.
Okay, I don't know why
fans don't want to hear from other
your
people.
face. There's where the video cameras would have come in handy, right there. I don't know how to describe that, but it was perfect.
It was a get out of here with that shit. Like, it's you and me, brother. What was the first time you saw it? Like, where did you see it? What was your experience with the film?
I saw it on, I got an early copy on DVD. Somebody gave it to me.
All right.
Because I don't think. Oh no, actually, I saw that in the theater, and then like a week later, I got Reservoir on DVD.
Oh, okay.
I knew I got one of his earlies.
So you saw Pulp before Reservoir.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. And you still prefer Reservoir, just by a minute amount.
It is just because as a whole, like I don't have anything like I do with Bruce Willis and his girlfriend in Reservoir.
Yeah.
There is no moment in that, and I'm like, I This just
I agree.
And it sucks to detract from Pulp because I still love that movie over the top. The rest of the movie is excellent. There's so many good scenes where you can latch onto. Let's talk about before.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson and God damn
John Travolta.
John Travolta. Thank you, Jesus. I kept going Vincent Vega in my head, and I'm like, that's not his goddamn name, Matt. So them in the car, but like I was saying
short-term
before,
memory loss going on.
I know. Unfortunately, certain things happen before the start of the show that are affecting my mental and cognitive abilities right now. But then with like Whaley, that interaction there, we're talking about the Chris Walken, but Plummer and Roth, that opening scene,
Great,
is fantastic.
Yeah.
But they don't play in until much later. The introduction of Marcellus Wallace with just the Band-Aid on the back, and you don't see his face for a while. Yeah. And I love the theories over the years that the briefcase is his soul.
Someone's soul, right? His soul,
stole his soul, and that's where the soul escaped the body through that. I've heard other versions of what that could have been.
I still haven't heard I don't know. Maybe the fans will correct us on this, but I don't remember hearing Tarantino ever say what was in that briefcase.
It's better to not say what's in the briefcase.
I agree with you because this the gold and Travolta's reaction. The gold light and Travolta's reaction is enough. You don't need anything more. It's something.
It's so amazing.
So amazing that even him, a hardened assassin who seems not give a shit about anything, is like white as a ghost when he sees it and knows it's
well, the thing is, did they, from their characters' perspectives, know what they were trying to...
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think there was a job, and Marcellus was like, you need to go get this from these people. This is what I need to get done, so go get it. Marcellus doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's like,
but
I'm going to give you all the information.
No, but at the same time, when he opens the briefcase and he sees that, they don't know what they're looking for. So Sam Jackson asks him,
are we good?
Are we good?
Yeah.
And he takes him a beat, and then he looks up and he's like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, granted...
That's a good point, Matt. So maybe they did. Okay.
But I don't know what you would say to them. It's like...
What's a soul look like in a briefcase? That's what I'd like to know.
Or maybe his soul is just money, and it's a big briefcase full of money.
Cougarans.
Who knows? Sure. Apartheid coins. Why not? Of course. Fucking Marcellus Wallace. Yeah, that's how he's sticking it to the man. He's buying apartheid coins.
I got some Krugerrands.
Those are black market, too, because South Africa is free at that point, 95, 96. So maybe they are worth more.
There's so many memorable moments from this movie, right? It's like the bad motherfucker with the wallet.
Yeah.
The obviously the adrenaline into the chest.
Eric
Uma
Stoltz
Thurman.
is awesome in those scenes. I don't know, man.
That's something we haven't met. Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette.
Yeah, Rosanna Arquette and the other girl that's her friend. I don't know who that actually.
Oh yeah,
name.
She was in Commitments.
Okay.
I forget her. She's Irish. She's an Irish girl.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. It's all here, dude.
Yeah.
It's all in my brain. Scott Mance, if you're listening, your ass is going down your ass is going down. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
God, there's a movie I haven't seen in forever.
Commitments?
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie, dude.
I've seen it,
on Blu-ray.
I don't know, like 3 times, 4 times. It's fun. Well, it's kind of like the Full Monty or any of those where out of nowhere it's like, here's this English comedy that's unlike our comedies.
All through the 90s, there was a bunch of that stuff. I hate how little those have come across the pond over the last 10 years. They were great in the 90s to go see those things. They were so great.
Out of nowhere, just be like, oh, this movie was so much fun.
Yeah.
I saw a good one not long ago about... what was it about a mining town and gay guys from London come to help them strike?
Pride. Yep.
That was good.
That was very good.
Yeah. I was surprised by how good it was.
Yeah.
You really cared about all those people by the end of it. And it was like, oh, this is a nice story. You did. You walked out of it going, this is a nice story.
I give a fuck about those gay guys. How about that?
Well, it's not that. It's just... I'm 25 years removed from a story from people that may or may not be alive anymore.
Absolutely.
And just like you walk out caring about that, you know, their plight, their struggle.
There was a run of those because you had Brastoff, you had Commitments, you had Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these were coming through at that time. And so it was fun to watch those. These British ones come over and like kind of get a foothold, you know, and now it's not as frequent. You know, now you get the Queen or the King's Speech.
More
there's a more
higher
end.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I love the working class ones so much more. Anyway, yes. So
back to
the adrenaline needle.
Yeah, exactly. Stoltz, his interaction there, like just when I just love in that scene. It was like, hold on, you've never done this, and be like, I've never had an OD'd bitch. in my house before, so you're going to put this needle in her.
Right.
When I bring an OD bitch to your house, I'll put the needle in her chest. It's so good. Or the earlier interaction when he's talking about his different heroines, and he's like, this is good. This is like, it's Panda or something from Mexico.
Yeah.
And then there's the middle one. It's equally the same. This shit is really good. And then it's fucking Travolta's like, I just came back from Amsterdam. But just like, listen, I will paraphrase and say, what am I, an asshole? That is not what he says, because I don't think I should really be repeating the dialogue.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound good for the purposes of what we're doing, which is entertaining on a comedic and fun level.
Yes, absolutely.
As opposed to, in the midst of a drama.
Right.
But, I mean, his career has got to be one of the weirdest.
Who is Stoltz?
Stoltz.
Yeah.
A guy that everybody agreed was excellent, and never got to reach the heights we all assumed he would.
He shows up in the most random movies.
Yeah.
Like, he initially was supposed to be
Marty McFly.
Yeah, Marty McFly, but he even shot 2 weeks, and they didn't like what they had. But because he was always more of a drama guy.
He was. I can't imagine where the comedy would be.
Yeah.
This is one of his more comedic roles in Pulp.
Right, exactly.
Where it's just his natural reaction in the midst of this crazy situation that makes it, funny-ish.
And I still think he's in one of the criminally underlooked John Hughes movies. The one he did with Mary Sue Masterson, is that her name? The blonde, and Leah Thompson.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I never saw it because I was a little kid when it came out.
Yes.
And it just seemed like kind of melancholy almost.
Yeah, it was because he's like after this girl, but
yeah, and it didn't appeal to me, so it's never appealed to me. It's always
some
struck
kind of
me
wonderful.
As that. Some kind of
wonderful. Yeah, Mary Stuart Masterson, right? Exactly. And I enjoyed that film, and so I always thought Stoltz had a nice little thing. But then he randomly pops up. Huh?
Mask.
Of course, Mask. That's what announced him.
Exactly. Yeah. But after seeing that, you're like, wow, this guy is so goddamn good.
Right.
So good. Like, impressively good.
Yeah.
I care about the son of a biker trash. Which is what he is.
The deformed face.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine, because sadly there have been kids that grew up in that world. I can't imagine what growing up in a biker gang is like.
No, thanks.
A weird morality where certain things are okay and other things are off limits.
Right.
But it's night and day.
Yeah.
I got a
but
friend.
We only say that because we grew up in somewhat of a normal situation. To us,
we grew up like everybody else did.
Yeah, right. If we grew up in a biker gang, we would think that's normal.
It's true.
And they would look at us and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Well, until you get into the real world and be like, oh, I'm way different. Oh, yeah. Nobody, you know what I mean? Nobody's seen this.
You can't chain whip somebody?
You can't.
Get the fuck out of here.
I've read somewhere that when you're in a biker bar, it was like a Confessions of a Biker Bar bartender, where it was like they were a criminal enterprise.
Yeah.
And this was their bar, and he got the job knowing, and he was like, you don't have to fear certain people. You have to fear the guys that carry around flashlights, because that means they have felonies on their records, and they can't carry any other weapon, and that's the only weapon they can carry. And you're like, oh my God, I had never thought about that. That's true, because I've heard that, like, at one point, a friend of mine had a huge mag light when we were in high school, and then they were termed outlaw, like they were illegal.
I remember that.
It's just like, oh, because you can turn it into a weapon. Yeah. But I had never thought of it as an adult of like, oh yeah, even the smaller ones, I have one.
Yeah.
You could still use that as a baton.
It's a blunt object.
Exactly. And just fucking pistol whip somebody right across the head.
Absolutely.
Just reading that. But can you imagine growing up in that world where weird shit like that? Like, no. The real sign of danger is this innocuous bullshit over here.
Right. The guy holding a flashlight.
Yeah. And there's got to be like 3 other instances or examples where you're like, actually, in this situation, you need to be wary of that dude. Exactly. And you're like, what? The librarian? Why is he the most evil? Why does a biker club have a librarian? Exactly. Then he fucking just, chops you in half.
Yeah, he shows up he showed up in Jerry Maguire randomly. Like, he's just in random spots. But I always enjoy. You're right. I always enjoy his work when I see
every time
him.
You're like, that dude is so good and professional. It's like Downey Jr., even in the midst of all his drug shit, every time he'd show up in something.
Yeah, you'd love him.
Yeah, he was always excellent.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, hey, man, get your shit together, because they keep giving you shots for a reason.
Yeah. It's good.
And he eventually did.
Yeah. All right, back to the
back to the show.
So let's take it step by step, because, like, obviously I can already tell this is going to be a long one. So because there's so much to talk about in Pulp Fiction, we've got the storylines. What we have: Vincent Vega, we have Sam Jackson, as we said.
Yeah, we
have Bruce Willis and the girl,
his girl. But then you got
we have
Bruce Willis and Marcellus later on.
Bruce Willis and Marcellus. But that's all connected. That's all. Yeah. That's one whole storyline. But the whole storyline with Marcellus Wallace's wife, with Uma, And John Travolta is interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
this whole idea of having to take out your boss's wife, like, that's so insane.
Who you heard threw dude out of a window because he gave your wife a foot massage.
Tony Rocky Horror.
Which what kind of within wife asks a stranger
Yeah.
to give them a foot massage, which
Right.
is weird. And then that person obviously felt compelled, or maybe there was a little sexual, but something like that where now I'm wary of her entirely because from Travolta or Vega's side, just like, well, maybe she's trying to, like, she's throwing game at me the whole time, and I'm just knocking it down, doing everything I can to save my life.
Well, I think that's the genius of the film, Matt, is they take all these characters that we wouldn't normally have a connection to and give them real human shit to worry about.
Yeah.
Like Travolta.
To see that they're people.
Yeah, to see the people. They're people trying to live their lives as well in the most insane situations, but still basically human. And having all the struggles that you'd have just in a different environment. That's all. Like, he's worried about taking his boss out, but then she gets a bad dose of whatever it is that he has.
Heroin.
The heroin.
She snorts
right?
heroin.
She snorts, and she just messes it all the hell up. So he can't have her die on him. So he's got to figure out how the hell. So he has to use all his resources to save her, and only because he had been to Eric Stoltz before that he realizes where to go because he bought the shit from him.
Exactly, and that's what I love about it, because in a lot of other movies, you would see Eric Stoltz that once, and he's never going to come back up again. He's just the dealer, and that's what he hooked him up, and the drugs happen. They end up somewhere else at the end of their travails.
Right.
But to pull him back in and have one of the most memorable scenes in it is great. And then when they show back up at Uma Thurman's house, and Travolta's like, listen, I'd be better. You know what I mean? Can we, like, never discuss this again? And I love her response of, trust me, if Marcellus ever finds out, I'm going to be in just as much trouble as you are. And then Travolta's like, I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. That's, you're going to get some sort of reprimand. I am going to die.
Exactly.
It's not the same thing. It's not the fucking same thing.
But what's so great within that is in that storyline is the moment when she says to him, when you guys get together, you're worse than a bunch of old ladies in a sewing circle. And that's where they become human. Because, people gossip. Everyone fucking gossips. Mm-hmm. It's irrelevant of what you do in your life. Everyone fucking gossips. And so
got to talk about something.
Yeah, you got to fill the time.
Yeah, sports only lasts so much in my world.
It's only, God forbid, if you didn't even have that.
Yeah.
And what you referenced earlier, Matt, the conversations between Sam Jackson and Travolta in the car, it's great stuff that just lays you the groundwork of their relationship, of them catching up, but also the easy rapport they have because they're, to a degree, as much as two people can be, friends in this world.
No, they seem like genuine friends.
Yeah, right.
Whereas I would assume the rest in, like, crime organizations it's all tenuous.
Yeah.
It's about your pecking order and trying to move up and get yours.
Right.
Whereas they seemed like, no, they trust each other.
Yeah.
And there's a collegiality there that's nice.
But Tarantino's writing is so great. I absolutely love him as a writer. I bought just about every script he's ever written because it's just fun to go back and read them and see the tightness of the scenes. And when they're talking about the foot massage, which you referenced earlier, when they're walking up, I mean, he's like Tony Rocky Horror, all this kind of. I don't know. The guy had a weight problem. Like, there's all these little things that are thrown in that are really funny.
Oh yeah, no, he's Samoan.
Decorate, motherfucker Samoan. I ain't got a weight problem, but they throw that in to kind of give you the enjoyment of watching this scene, even though they're talking about really serious shit like a guy's death. They throw in.
Did
Tarantino
he die?
Throws in, well, no, he didn't die, but like
he just
can't
got
talk
really,
right anymore.
He got really fucked up, but I don't think he died.
He might as well have. He can't
that's true.
But yeah, all those things that they talk about, and then Uma totally demolishes it later, and he lays that groundwork real early, drops little things, and even though it's a not linear storyline through the movie, stuff gets dropped in at the right time for you to enjoy it being referenced again.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, the whole Bruce Willis storyline is so great because of that watch. The fucking watch is the whole reason he gets into this whole stupid, insane situation.
But it is a compelling reason.
Exactly.
You buy it 100% because if you were, 5?
Yeah.
When Chris Walken comes in and you get that story, you get that watch, man. That watch has meaning and value. Unfortunately, you can ditch all the rest of it. Everything else can go.
Yeah.
Fire sale, no problem. Get it all out the door. But that watch has to stay.
Yeah.
I 100% believed it when I saw it. I was like, oh, but don't do it, man. I know you want to, but just leave the watch. It's not worth it. Just leave the watch.
Yeah. But then that ends up leading to Travolta's death.
Yeah.
Which is so great. Like, you don't see that coming. It's halfway through the movie. And that was so brilliant. It's halfway through the movie, he dies, but still he comes back because in the storyline he's in another place.
But the beauty of that is That's what we were talking about before, where through the dialogue and the scenes that they're in, you can just tell that they're people.
Yeah.
Travolta dies like that because sometimes life just works like that.
Yeah, I got to take a shit.
Yeah, it just happens to work out in that fashion, and it's not unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, fuck, man, you literally got caught with your pants down.
Yeah. Really, literally. Or just put your pants on.
But at the same time, your gun is on the counter.
Yep.
Because you just absentmindedly put it down because you're like, nobody's been here this entire time.
Right.
They're surely not going to come for the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes, however long it takes you. And it fucking does right in the middle of it. I mean, just when he opens the door and Willis has the, what is it, an Uzi?
Yeah.
Just
with the
silencer on it.
Oh, man.
And just rattles him up.
It really does. So there's no question.
Yeah, but whatsoever.
But that's my favorite storyline, brother, because so much happens within it that to me, as the way I'm built as John Roca, I love. The whole Marcellus Wallace stuff, the fact that Bruce Willis hits him with his car, the fact
that scene is great.
So
when
awesome.
Ving just looks over and sees him, and then Willis in the car.
He just stops in the middle. Willis is just singing along.
Fuck. And just boom, gas, and just takes him up over the top. Oh, it's great. And the whole them fighting thereafter. And that's the beauty of it. Willis' storyline just somehow keeps building and building and building.
It gets crazier and crazier.
In believable ways.
Yep.
It amps up the absurdity, just ratcheting it, just a tiny little bit. So we end up with a gimp and everything else, and it's not so outlandish.
Yep. You know there's some fucked up deputy fucking some dude in the ass in some place somewhere. Of course, it's L.A.
Look,
you know that's happening.
Dudes are gross.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Guys are fucking gross.
I will never understand the power move of trying to take someone from behind in prison or in any other situation when you're not gay. I don't get it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I
would never do it. Never.
It's a psychological.
It must be, but
sexuality is mixed in with it. But it's a psychological. Like you just either want to dominate or be dominated.
Yeah, I just want to chill and live my life.
I don't want any part of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. That's why I stopped hanging out at pawn shops. You know what I mean?
There you go.
It's a bad place. Seedy people are just mixed in too much.
They kept asking me to come downstairs and play a game.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I'm good.
That's my favorite part of living in Hollywood is when people are like, oh, what's it like? And be like, it's indescribable.
Yeah.
If you stand on a corner long enough, you're going to meet 3 of the most interesting bums and then see a retardedly famous person.
Exactly.
As long as you stand on a corner long enough.
And you know who's going to be more interesting to you? The bums. Than
100%.
Person. Yeah.
You're going to spend more time trying to describe what this person was like and failing. You're just like, I trust me, I can't capture. Although I told a story of one guy, and then a couple months later, a friend of mine ran into him and was like, dude, I met that guy. And then we had like a 10-minute, I was like, okay, so you saw the boil. Guy had a boil on his neck, like a big one, this bigger than an egg, just on the side of his neck. He's talking about the government is killing people and burying them in Las Vegas. Yeah. So be wary of any transport ships, like planes, cargo planes leaving L.A. because they're going to Vegas to drop off all these bodies. And I listened for like 10 minutes. Man.
Wow.
I was like, what else you got? What else? Is this the craziest thing?
Yeah.
Because this is great. Because you could tell he's really harmless.
Yeah.
He's just crazy.
Yeah.
He's not going to physically act out in any way. And if he does, I've got him. It's not a problem. I was taller than this guy. He's been on the street for how long? Which means he's not malnourished. Like,
right.
I'm taking you down. I'm not afraid of you. There are other homeless people and be like, man, you're new to homeless. You're still spry. You know what I mean? You still have well-fed muscle. Give it some time.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean that's what's so enjoyable about the film. All these characters that are introduced, and they give such incredible, interesting dialogue that makes them fascinating. These characters. So when you see this whole, you're presented with Marcellus Wallace as this badass already from the beginning. So the fact that he could be gunned down going to get food, randomly by himself.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's not with anybody.
Well, he's like Vega. He's doing something innocuous.
Yes.
And thinking he can get away with it, and the world caught up to him.
Yeah.
Well, the world in this instance is
and Willis
Bruce
too,
Willis.
though, because Willis does not want to see.
No, he wants to see no one.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go near Marcellus Wallace. He wants to go get that watch and go and get the fuck out of there because he threw the fight, or because he didn't throw the fight, but he screwed them over by winning.
Well, yeah, he was supposed to go down in the 5th,
right?
And he killed the other guy,
right? Oh, that's another thing. Those great little vignettes that randomly happen throughout the film.
What, like the cab driver?
Yeah, the cab driver, Maria
Villalobos.
Yeah, Villalobos. Right. Yes, and she was in that film that Rodriguez directed.
So hot. Now, had you given me her as the girlfriend, still doing the inane chatter, I would buy it because I would assume that he latched on to her overt sexuality.
That's fine, but Matt, would you have believed her forgetting the watch? That woman would not have forgotten that watch.
That's true.
That's the thing. That's why you pick a flighty chick like a flighty woman like Maria de Medeiros to play it, because it's believable because she's a child.
I just think there's another way to play it. I feel bad. I'm not harping on the actress.
No.
I don't know.
I don't think she's ever going to hear this, so it's all right. Unless she's cursing us on.
You
French.
never know, because sometimes people will just like, yeah, I got a tweet saying such and such. Somebody said this about me. I'm like, so a third party who you've never met is letting you know that this person said some shit about you over here. Like, that's retarded. That is retarded. It's the tattle police.
Yeah.
I've seen it on more than one occasion. It's pretty impressive.
Someone tried to do that today on Twitter that said, like, hey, Screen Junkies, the Walking Dead crew on Collider didn't feel the same way about the episode as you did on Talking Dead. I'm like, seriously, go F yourself.
Yeah, that best part is that's the tame version.
Right.
That's the nice, like,
Probably.
hey, difference of opinions.
No.
Like, more often than not, it's like, that dude called you a faggot. And you're like, first off, why are we... I don't need to know that.
Yeah.
Why did you just tweet that? I mean, that's terrible.
I ignore those tweets all the time.
Yeah, it's pointless.
Yeah. And then you have like we were saying the anal rape scene down, like, it was so random, and but it's so scary because it's certainly possible.
Well, because it's prison.
Yeah.
You just made it into prison. How the fuck are you going to get out of this cage?
Right. And one of those guys is a what is he, a deputy or something?
Yeah,
like that?
some sort of, or maybe a security guard.
Is he a security guard? Maybe he's a security guard. Okay. But then you have the creepy dude who owns the pawn shop, who looks like when he's taking and they show it. God love Ving Rhames for being willing to have that dude being shot in that way. But like,
oh yeah,
they show it, and the guy who in the beard is so like, he's so into it, and you're just like, oh man, these sick sons of bitches. So that when the samurai sword, which is a great moment as well, where Bruce is like, how?
Well, he's going through to pick the weapons.
Yeah, he's trying to find the right weapon for
looking
the
at it
situation.
like, oh, what is this one? Just yeah. What's the best way to kill these fucks?
Yeah, and it's such a great way. The slashing and then the stab is so classic samurai, which is, of course, which we find out later with Quentin Tarantino, is an influence for him, as we see in Kill Bill and a couple of things. It's a real thing.
But it's so small,
right,
that you're like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
This is so cool to kill a guy by this. But it's not like he takes out 15 guys with a ton of intricate moves.
No.
And he's never been trained on it. So how are you that good with a sword? It's just kind of, he mimics 2-3 moves that he's seen in movies, and it's over.
If they don't have any other weapon to combat you with, you can get away with 3 moves.
Exactly. You're going to win. You have the superior weapon.
That's right. But then the reversal is so great because, he saves Ving. Ving shoots the dude in the balls with a shotgun, and he's going to take him to pieces, a medieval style, or whatever. Get medieval on your ass. Pipe hitting. I love that line. Such a great line. But then they have the real interaction of like, what's the deal with us?
Oh, yeah. Are we cool? And we're pretty fucking far from cool.
Well, yeah. And he's like, oh, no, I mean between us. And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, that between us. What I love is how both their weapons go down at the same time in unison. And I'm like, yeah, that's the moment. That's a real human moment of connection because they're both dropping their guard to have an actual conversation.
Well, yeah. Listen, you lost money with me.
Yeah.
But I think I just more than made up for that with you. And you're agreeing with me of like, yeah, I don't ever want to see you again.
Right.
But we're cool.
Yeah, but I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't ever come back.
Well, the penalty of law is over.
Yeah.
As long as I don't have to see you and you don't deal in my world,
right.
I'm not going to be sending people. You don't have to look over your back the rest of your life.
Yeah, I can claim that I
or
killed
look over
you,
your shoulder.
And no one needs to know that you. The better, either way. And then we get to the storyline with Vincent. We go back to the storyline of Vega and Sam Jackson and the whole light. And then they shoot. They get shot at by the guys. They kill Frank Whaley.
It's Phil Lamar, isn't it?
Yeah, Phil Lamar's who they end up shooting in the car. And it's so random. Once again, so random.
They hit a bump
out of the blue. They just hit a bump.
And maybe his finger or the trigger just got a hair trigger or something, and he shoots his fucking head off. And then the scenes with Quentin and then Harvey Keitel coming in.
Yeah, the wolf. Yeah.
And it's great because then you see the outfits that you saw them earlier on.
Right.
When he shows up to Vincent, Marcellus Wallace, and he's like looking at him. It's off screen, so you don't hear what they're saying, but he's just like, what the fuck are you wearing?
Yeah.
What is this T-shirts and jogging shorts bullshit? And the whole build up from that. And once again, Quentin's best acting.
Yeah.
In any of his movies.
Yeah.
Just great where it goes from super serious to, especially when Keitel gets there.
Yeah. He's all like respectful and stuff.
Yeah.
Mr. Wolf.
I just love the fucking Sam Jackson. Oh, this is some great coffee. Is this some gourmet? Don't fucking do that, man.
I don't need you to tell me I got great coffee.
Yeah, I know. I buy that fucking coffee.
Make the shit.
But it's just don't you fucking try and sidestep the issue.
Yeah.
Here's the goddamn issue, motherfucker. Yeah, we're technically friends.
Yeah.
We're like, we're friends, quote unquote.
I'm trying to get out of this world.
Yeah.
And you're like bringing this world to me.
I have no choice at this point to confront the matter.
My wife's going to kill us all. But it's such an inventive thing to bring in essence, a closer or a cleaner to figure out the situation. But once again, we get these two pretty badass killers reduced to cleaning the car, and complaining the whole time like a couple of guys would. Like a couple of dumb idiots would, just sitting in that car going, son of a, can I clean this blood?
It's even better when they get sprayed down with hoses.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's freezing cold, and they've got the soap. Like it's in prison. They're just trying to get through it. And then to close with, or to get to the robbery,
Yeah.
which is great in the opening scene. You just see Roth and Plummer as they slowly build to the decision of, all right, let's rob this place because it makes more sense than, hey, liquor store, you get your head shot off, or bars, or here. No one wants to, stand up.
Yeah.
There are no heroes here. We just see at the end, it's just like the bad motherfucker, like, you can take anything, but you can't take this. This isn't mine to give you.
And that scene is so tense.
Yeah.
Because Amanda Plummer is nuts, and so believably nuts in that sequence, and Tim Roth is so incredibly scared because he wants to get out of that situation, and he didn't anticipate them confronting someone like Sam Jackson.
Yeah. He thinks that he's an alpha, and he
Jules.
ran into a real alpha.
Yeah.
And now he's fearful because he knows that he can't match.
Right.
Or he thought he was psychotic, and he ran into a real person that has no problems, no qualms with killing another individual.
Yeah.
Or dying for a briefcase. Like, you can see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
The assuredness and this confidence of, like, there's only one of two outcomes. You die or I die.
Yeah.
But that's it. You're not getting this fucking case.
I think that's one of the best things about Sam Jackson when he is in the right role. Man, his power is so palpable. It's so potent.
Yeah.
Like, it's very real. And yet you'll see him do these stupid Capital One commercials or these dumb little ones that he's got campaign now that he's got with Charles Barkley and Spike Lee that are really funny and playful. But when he turns on the eyes to go hardcore, you believe it.
Every time.
Every time. There's not a moment where you're just like, oh, I don't think this guy. No. This guy at any moment will do what he needs to do. And I think in that moment you get a real viewpoint into Sam Jackson, into the character of Jules. Because when he's doing the Ezekiel, all that stuff with Brett, do I say what again? Do they speak English and what? Like all that jazz. You're getting the stylized version of his anger. But when he's there with the wallet pointing, like he is in control the entire time. And that's true power. He doesn't need to yell. He doesn't need to do anything. He's just telling him, yeah.
Just through his intensity.
Yeah.
The eye contact, the assuredness of his tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you buy it every time.
Exactly. And I love that ending. Once again, a comical ending of having Travolta with his little paunch and Sam Jackson walking out in their shorts and shirts that are like totally suburban dad wear because of where they had to get the clothes from Quentin's house. Quentin's character's house.
Well, things that he's willing to just never see again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you get stuck with. A UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs t-shirt. Just like, I don't give a fuck. That was on my Salvation Army pile.
Yeah.
That you can take that all you want.
That's why I love the bartender's reaction when he opens the door. He goes, "Oh, my man. Oh, my man. Our man in Reno. Holy, what are you wearing, man?" That's brilliant. Just brilliant. Yeah. So it's a good film. It's a great film, I guess you would have to say.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Right.
It's, it's in my top probably 2 to 3, probably 2 for Tarantino films.
Wow. Top 2.
Yeah, I mean, Reservoir and then more than likely this.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of good Tarantino.
I would push, to me, it's Kill Bill and then this. And then Django.
Well, then what, Hateful Eight after that for you?
Yeah. Probably Hateful Eight after that.
Yeah.
Although Django and Hateful Eight, no, hey, Django's better than Hateful Eight. I love Hateful Eight, but Django's better. I think it's more richer.
Well, at least the second half or after the first hour, once they've done setting up all the characters,
Yeah.
and now they're just locked in that room.
Yeah.
I think that sequence, that next 2 hours or whatever it is endlessly rewatchable for me.
Yeah.
I don't really need
You mean
to
Hateful
see.
Eight?
Yeah.
In Hateful
I don't.
Eight.
Personally, I don't mind some of the, like, In the Wagon itself is fantastic.
Yeah.
But just once they're in the cabin, that's when the movie kind of starts.
Yeah.
Everybody's done doing whatever the fuck they're doing, tying up the horses and all that jazz.
Right.
And they're all just in this cabin. Boom, now the movie has started, and it's excellent.
Yeah. Is there a real Jackrabbit Slims? Was that based on anything? And if anybody's listening, have they ever been to a Jackrabbit Slims here in L.A.?
It doesn't seem like something that would...
Okay.
Because if it did exist, we would have heard about it, or like it used to be in this area. Because I've heard that from other things, like, oh, that used to be over there.
Yeah.
Like
I
where
would've totally gone.
the Brown Derby was.
Right.
I know where that is.
Right.
Even though it hasn't existed for a long time.
Nope.
Just like, oh yeah, that was over there. Like, oh, all right.
It's a restaurant and a bank now.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The I forget the name of the place. Meal check or meal plan, something like that. Anyway, so anything else you want to say about the film? Like, have we covered everything?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
This is probably the actual most in-depth discussion we've done of the film itself of these.
I think so.
Hopefully it was entertaining to those out there.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for voting.
Even with our
this
tangents?
week's
Oh yeah.
is Battle of the Billionaires.
Hi-oh.
We got Batman Begins versus Iron Man.
Right.
So which billionaire is going to win, guys? That is up to you.
Which billionaire playboy
Yeah.
is going to win?
Is going to win.
Right.
That's why we like the matchup.
Do you have a lean? Are you leaning towards one?
Yeah, I don't want to say.
Me too.
I like one over the other.
Me too.
But I can't wait to see. Vote for. I like both films.
Right.
So I'm happy to talk about either.
Yeah.
It'd be a good time. I enjoy both.
I own both, so I can definitely rewatch whichever one gets chosen
Sure.
in time for us to talk about it next week.
Voting is open till Friday noon. It's 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please get your votes in before then.
Feel free to vote afternoon.
You-
It just won't count.
Yeah, once we get past that Friday noon cutoff, it does not count. I think last week somebody got one in like 37 minutes later, and I was like, I'm going to be a stickler on this shit. I'm going to be a stickler.
You have to be.
Yeah, otherwise
to be, or
I'm
else
counting votes on Sunday and Monday
You've
and
got
Tuesday.
a life too, Matt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody so much again for voting. So thanks for giving us shout outs on Twitter and giving a lot of love to this on YouTube and on iTunes. And
Yeah, we just got a bunch more ratings on iTunes.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, I
really
don't know
appreciate
why last week's Thunderdome still cannot be downloaded on the desktop version of iTunes.
What?
Can't.
it. All right.
I checked it a couple days ago.
That's weird.
Yeah, we both got it on our phones.
On our iTunes, yeah.
Yeah, I knew so I knew it was working, and then I checked our numbers, and she's like, people are downloading this, but for whatever reason on the desktop, I emailed them, but that is never going to be fucking answered.
Yeah.
In a million years.
It's
so.
probably 4,674,233 down the list. It's an email they got to get to. So you'll hear something.
I think that's being generous.
You'll hear something in July. You'll hear something in July.
Wow, by July, I'm never going to hear anything about that for the rest of my life.
I would love it if ding right now the email came through.
Well,
Oh, shit,
if they did, I'd sing a different tune.
Of course you would.
iTunes, man, they're so impressively good about
They are
getting back
so
to people.
good. They're
It's not like they can't afford to have a staff
Right.
on hand to answer as many questions that come in every day.
I would take that job in a heartbeat. Because they're going to pay you good money to answer those questions.
No, they're not.
Hey, I have to.
They still have kids in China making parts for them, you know?
Could you not put down the network we're on? They're gonna hear this and then we're done.
We're on. Hold on, we're not on iTunes' network.
Well, we're gonna get. I'm obsessed with that word. I'm sorry, but like, don't put them down because then they're gonna be like, you know what? We have to rescind your
They
license.
can't cut us off. And plus, you think anybody if that's as much shit talking as anybody is doing on a podcast that gets released on iTunes, then they're lucky.
Okay,
I got to
Fair
assume there are people just piling on.
sure.
Why not?
We just went silent like 30 seconds ago. Our audio stopped.
Just mad they showed up here and they cut it off. They're that fucking good.
You said the
They're
combination
that
of
good.
words.
And especially because this isn't hooked up into a network anywhere. So
Oh,
somehow
that's we haven't even loaded.
they got into the room and did it in front of us, and we didn't even fucking notice.
Hey-o. All right, well, guys, thanks again. And please follow us at Top 10 Show on Twitter, at Top 10 Podcast on Instagram, Matt at Matt Nost, me at The Roca Says. And then listen for our show coming out tomorrow, our main show.
Our regular show, our regular Top 10 show comes out tomorrow.
Special
and,
topic that we chose.
for those that have asked in the past, you can download us or listen to us on Stitcher now, as well as iTunes or YouTube, or you can go to our page on Podomatic if you want to listen to it there.
Right.
We get a few hundred of those every week.
Oh, and if you want to go to Facebook, like us at the Top 10 Podcast.
If you want to vote.
And to vote. Right. You have to be on Facebook.
It's the only place we're taking votes is on Facebook.
Yeah, we can't go through Twitter. That's just too much.
And we're almost at, 900
yeah, can we get to
people?
1,000?
Yeah, can we get, come on, guys.
We're over 900. We got to get to 1,000.
Are we?
Yeah, we're at 970 something.
Oh, I had
Come
no
on.
idea. I thought we were 870 something.
No, there's enough of you guys to get us to 1,000, for God's sake.
Come on, you jerks. All you got to do is hit like.
All right.
That's all you got to do is hit like. Whatever. You were asking for money earlier. All I'm asking you
I wouldn't call them jerks.
is just a mouse click. That's all I'm asking for is a mouse click. And then if you don't want to see our notifications, you can hide them.
You can hide the feed.
Yeah, I don't
Just
care.
like us.
Yeah, exactly. But we do voting, and that determines what we talk about on this show. So if you're listening to us right now, you obviously have some vested interest
Absolutely.
at least either that or you're looking for anything to pass the time at your job, whatever the case is.
What Matt said.
So, like us.
There you go. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Okay, bye-bye.